So it's time to start testing my third choice marathon racing shoe, or will it be these? So it's about that time, 7.5 weeks out, where I start to lock in all of my kit, fueling, and now race shoes for the big day. But of course this time it's slightly different. I don't have my number one shoe, the Saucony Endorphin Elite, and my Vaporfly version 1s, which would be my second choice, have now got way too many miles in to consider for a marathon. Plus their updated version 2, I don't have any pairs, again with a decent amount of miles in, that I could put a marathon in. So we're down to the Alphafly version 3. I am very excited. This is a great shoe, but of course we've got some more testing to do. And I've got 3 things that I want to do with this shoe. Number 1, take it out for a quick speed workout, which you're about to see. Number 2, race in it in the Cheltenham 10K this coming weekend. And then number 3, take it out for a long run workout, just to make sure that I'm happy with it. But I am considering alternatives, and we'll talk about that shortly. For the moment, I just want you to see how this speed session went and my instant thoughts post-speed session. So what better way to reacquaint yourself with your upcoming marathon shoe than a cheeky little speed session? Plus I'll be taking them for a spin on the Cheltenham 10K, which is in just 3 days time. But technically these shoes aren't my first choice of marathon shoe. In fact, they're not even my second choice. They're my third choice, but they're a good third choice and I'm happy to be giving them a go. Probably, I'll explain at the end how I may or may not change my mind, but as my current shoe rotation stands right now, these are going to be in line to make their marathon debut at Abingdon on the 20th of October. And what a beautiful day it is, by the way. What a day to be testing them out. So I've got 35 miles in them so far. And if I get this workout done today, Cheltenham 10K on the weekend, and then probably one long run, I should think I'd be probably close to having about 60 miles in them before we race. But that's fine, they feel amazing right now. And I've done some testing on them, I've done videos on the channel on them, and efficiency wise, they are right up there with my favourites, the Saucony Endorphin Elites. So yeah, today's session, we've just got 3 sets of 4 minutes on, around half marathon effort, off a minute, and then 2 minutes faster, off a minute. So we're going to go 4-2, 4-2, 4-2. My focus is the 4s, so I want to try and hit around 5:30s to 5:39 per mile, so in that range, and then the 2s will be whatever they'll be. I'm not really worried. At marathon training, all I'm looking to do in this session is hit things a little bit quicker. The original session was a heck of a lot bigger, but what I thought to myself is the more important thing right now is it Cheltenham 10K or is it a session 3 days out? And as much as I was going to do a full-on session and just run the 10K as it was, you can't replicate the adrenaline you get from a race. You can't replicate the race morning situation. You can't replicate the race itself. I can never get my heart rate as high and effort levels as high as I can in a race. Plus it's going to be super hot this weekend by the looks of it, so I'm excited to just go out there and get a good stimulus from the Cheltenham 10K. It won't be a PB attempt, but I'll certainly be able to, hopefully, the goal will be to try and run in the 5:20s. That's all I've set myself, try and run in the 5:20s for an average pace per mile, and if I can do that, that'll be a great stimulus. So there we go, bit of shoe testing done there. Obviously I know what these shoes are all about, but it's nice to remind myself. They're fast, they are just bulky, and it's why they're my third choice. You don't quite, or I don't quite feel like you flow as well. We'll go through my other choices back at the office, but I mean overall in terms of the session itself, bar the slow first rep, which was just me getting into it, and to be honest happens all the time, paces were bang on, exactly where I wanted them to be. Felt controlled, felt good, a little warm, but that's a good taste of what's to come this weekend. Nearly 4 miles banked, so yeah, Happy days. Now, the one thing I have to say about the Nike Alphafly is they are an incredible shoe, and I set some great personal bests in the version 1. I hated version 2, sent it straight back, but decided to keep version 3 because I really did enjoy it. And I will say I purchased all 3 of those with my own money. And this one, as I said, I decided to keep because it felt really good, very fast, and I have indeed raced in it already at the Cardiff Bay 10K, but it wasn't a good one to judge it with, my first 10K of the year, and it was way too hot and I just did terribly. So I'm excited to take it to Cheltenham where it's going to be way too hot and I'm not in 10K shape, and we'll see how we do there. But the one thing that I have to stress is that I don't think I fit the Alphafly mold. This shoe was specifically designed for 26.2 miles, and the reason being it's meant to carry you forward in those last 10K, in those last 6.2 miles when you are really, well, effectively where the marathon starts. I've never found that to be the case with the Alphafly, and I have not yet run a good marathon in the Alphafly. I've only run one, but it didn't go very well, and I have run other races, and what I do find, contrary to what other people find, is someone with a lower cadence, a bit taller, a bit heavier. I don't find that they help me through those final 10Ks. In fact, I find the Vaporfly to be much more effective. And out of the 11 marathons that I've run so far, my 2 really good marathons, the 2:44 at Shepherdine and then the 2:40 at Newport, were both run in Vaporfly version 1s, and I think a couple more that I've run sub 3 in have indeed been in Vaporfly version 2s. The one marathon I did in the Alphafly version 1 was a 3:03. That was at my bad year at London. Yet again, this year wasn't great either, but again I managed to run that one okay, and that was in the Saucony Endorphin Elite. But that would be my first choice racing shoe. I have had the best times in that shoe. Now, unless I see a Saucony Endorphin Elite drop on a crazy discount, I'm not going to be spending the money on a new pair. I do and will buy another pair because they are my favourite racing shoe, but I should think we'll see some discounts around Christmas time. So I'll sit tight and wait till then. But what else? What are my other options? Well, let's have a look at this. So back in the day when Nike used to speak to me because I didn't slate their shoes on reviews, they did send me a few pairs of shoes, and this was one of those ones. I stashed it away because I bought a pair with my own money, and then they sent me these a week later, and I thought they may or may not come in useful for the future. I have a box fresh pair of Vaporfly version 2. Only problem is they're the colourway that I'm not a massive fan of, but is that really an issue? Not really. These are box fresh, and these could be another option for me. I did actually run a marathon in this 2:55 at Shepherdine on the year. Again, I didn't do particularly great, but I am extremely tempted to get these things out of the box. These would be probably my alternative to the Alphaflys, and I'm going to make that decision relatively quickly, to be honest with you. I'll get the Cheltenham 10K done, I'll get a long run workout done next week probably, and then I'll make that decision. To be honest with you, if I don't feel like they're going to do the trick for me, I'll whip these things out, give them a test and make sure they're still all right, because obviously these have been sat around here for about 2 or 3 years now. I can't remember when the 2s were released. It might be 3 years, but they're just so much lighter. Yes, I'm not a massive fan of the colour, but do you know what? Who cares? These things are so light. If you heard what I said at the end of that speed session, I said the Alphaflys are bulky. I do find that, and it's just one of those things that just puts me off. And I have found on the longer runs in training and obviously in racing as well, I just find that they can get a bit cumbersome. And as I have said, I don't find them to be the shoe that propels me towards the end of a marathon. I actually find these things to be far more effective. And as I said, I've had successful races in the Vaporflys before. So a bit of a tricky decision in all honesty. What I've got to do is put the Cheltenham 10K almost out of my mind this weekend, because it is going to be hot. I do have and will have nearly 70 miles in the legs when I finish that race for this week, so my legs are feeling it. We're building up that marathon fatigue, which is great. I can't wait to taper and feel super sharp, but to be honest with you, that's not necessarily going to go fantastically. What the key will be for me is going to be on that long run workout the week after. I'll give them a good test. They will get to around 60-65 miles, and then we'll see how I feel about them, if they still feel quite bulky at that stage or if I feel like giving them a shot. If they feel great on that one, I'll make sure that I try and feel a little bit fresher, and we'll get some good marathon miles logged in them. Otherwise, I might end up pulling those things out of the box, get a couple of runs in those, test them out, and then commit to racing in those. I'd love to use the Endorphin Elites, but as I said, unless they come under £200 on sale anytime between now and the race. There's no chance I'm grabbing a new pair. And again, I'll keep an eye out for some Vaporfly version 1s, and I'll bid on a few here and there. But again, if I can't get any of those for under £200, they'll be out the window as well. I've got 2 great options here. It just depends on which one I choose. So I'd love to hear if you guys have run a marathon in the Alphafly 3. I tell you what, at London this year when they just came out, they were all around. There was a sea of yellow feet all around me. So I'm sure some of you out there have done it. I'd love to hear your feedback, whether you found them great or not. If you're like me, where you don't find they tend to help at the end of a race, or if you are someone that really benefits from them, it'd be great to hear your stories down in the comments below. Other than that, we'll leave it there. Plenty more testing to come, and I'm excited to finally nail down whatever I'm going to be racing in and really just kind of lock in that final piece of the puzzle. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, share it with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel for weekly running content. I'll see you on the next one.